This is episode 12 of the KTS Reviews Creative Corner, calling it Remember Who You Are and Straighten Your Crown. I'm your host, Krista Stevenson, here with our awesome guest, Uncle Leka. Thanks for being here with us today.
No problem.
Just a quick intro to Uncle Leka. He's originally from American Samoa. He's bounced back and forth between there and Alaska, is currently settled in sunny St. George, Utah. He runs his own business called Lex 55.
Yes.
His own graphic design business. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, Lex, we are a home business or a small business. It's just me and my wife and my daughter, really. And a lot of it is just, it's an upgrade from what it used to be. I used to just draw and post it on Instagram, and like the interaction worked out pretty well. Like, you know, people could connect. You know, they could see a lot of their likes in it. A lot of the collaboration pieces I do with different ideas anyway. There are things that it was funny to see. Like, there's a lot of other people who do. Like, a lot of other Polynesians, other islanders was like, oh, yeah, I like that too. And you put it together. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. So for you, sorry, I forgot to mention this earlier. Something that's cool about Leka is he is largely kind of a self-taught artist. You see the work that he does. He actually hasn't had any professional art training beyond middle school, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
So how did you decide to go from like doodling to making it like a lifestyle, just a big career thing?
Well, I feel like a lot of other kids, like you try the things when you're young, and art for me just stuck. Like, I mean, like it wasn't the best, but like it was something I did, and I was actually like, I like how it came out. I enjoy doing this. I remember one of the first things I would draw was like Ninja Turtles, and I would draw it on the walls. But like the thing about that is it pretty much was consistent of like a bunch of circles connected. And so that's what was the body. Small ones made up these really, really long arms. But then that's where it started. And I only remember that because I got in trouble a lot for writing them on the walls. But like, once that went, you always want to be better. And so like, I just kept doing it. I kept enjoying it. Like, it didn't die after a while. Like, it was just a fad. So I was like,
nice.
You should keep going. And the more you do something, the better you get at it. So as long as you're better than what you used to be, like, I just keep moving, trying different things. And like, that's pretty much where we are right now.
Man, I love it. So on your business with Lex 55, you say you like to focus on the culture parts aside from like long hair and tribal tattoos, right? So
True.
For you, what are the parts of Samoan culture, Pacific Island culture that you feel like you want to share with the world?
I say that just because, like, I mean, it's a general answer. Like, you know, if you're poly, that means you have to have long hair and tattoos because everybody looks like Joy Polamalu, apparently.
Yeah.
And so that's the expectation, but it's like, it's not. And as somebody who actually didn't grow up too aware of my culture, like it's a big deal for me to like identify with what I am and who I am and like my people. And so I say that because as I learned more, I realized like we are way more than just any physical traits. A lot of what I want to get across is more mentality and understanding of why we do what we do, not necessarily what that we do is different. You know, what is the source of what we do? And like for me, a lot of that is, you know, like family is a big thing, like God is a big thing, but also like service and love. Like it's crazy how much I start to see in, you know, the OGs and like those who are still living the culture, just how humble they are, how willing they are to give the shirt off their back to help somebody else. Like there is so much pure love and service. Like that's charity right there. And like, it's crazy because everyone's like, oh yeah, you guys are big. Oh yeah, you guys can all play sports. Like you can play football. And I was like, you can, but like there's so much depth to our people just like anywhere else. And so like for me, it's like, you know, I like to try different things. I encourage anybody who's trying to do something outside of sports to do it. But I mean, I'm not gonna knock you. If you are made to play football, play it.
Play it, yeah.
But
have
like,
fun.
Don't feel like that's the only outlet you have. Like, I mean, not even just art. Like for me, like I talk to my wife all the time. Like, I hope my daughter grows up and does something different. Like, if she doesn't want to be in sports, cool. But like, that'd be awesome if she was like a geologist or like go for NASA. I was like, or even, you know, write a book or get into art. I love art. I would love her too. But if she doesn't, we will support any other avenue that they want to adventure in. And so like for me, a lot of that is also understanding kind of the, like this little bubble that we live in the islands, because we haven't been too exposed. At least the earlier generations aren't aware of the other opportunities. If football and the army was the only thing that got off the island, then that's all they really know. But like for us, you know, growing up in the States or growing up in these, you know, the new generation, you realize like there's more opportunities out there. It doesn't have to just be sports. And like for me, art was mine. Not necessarily because I felt like I was going to be like the next like Michelangelo or Vincent van Gogh. I was like, I'm just Lex. Like I'm just me. But it's cool when people connect with that. And like for me, art is just, it's an expression. You know, it's an outward expression of an inward passion. And so it's like when people connect, it's like, cool, you're connecting with something important to me. And so that means we've built a bridge right there without necessarily having to be super intimate or be like super close. It's like, hey, you like that? I like that. Boom, we got something in common.
There's already that kind of connection.
And that's, you just keep building more commonalities. And
like, I definitely want to, we'll come back to this later, but this is huge. Like for Pacific Islanders, there is kind of this stereotype that I told it with my cousin Tilo, and I hate saying it out loud, but a lot of times, like I heard growing up, they say like polys are just for sports, or they only do sports and nothing else. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I remember there was kind of this like identity loss, like, oh, you're not an athlete. What kind of a Polynesian are you? You know, but there's so much more opportunity, and there's a lot more that we have to offer as a people, you know, and ways that we can grow, ways that we can connect with people. So with your art, what are ways that you've been able to use your art to kind of communicate that message?
Right. No, I mean, so initially a lot of my art was shared as I was learning it, as I was progressing in the research and understanding more about it myself. I let that reflect in the art. And so like, sometimes I like to go on my Instagram page or anywhere else and just go to the very beginning and just see the progression over time, not only in just the art itself, but also in how the culture and the message is conveyed. You mentioned earlier the Stranger Crown piece. Like for me, that's one of our founding pieces. And I'm grateful for that because for me, like that was a piece made like out of a real intent. At that time, I made it more so for my nieces. I didn't have a daughter at the time, but I was like, man, as an uncle, I love all my nieces. Like I love my nieces and nephew. Like all of the kids around me. Like I love kids. We've been around them enough. I understand the importance of raising them right and understanding like your role as not necessarily an adult, but like just somebody older as a role model. Like you have a big thing to do about that. And so when we made that, it was at a point where, you know, one of my nieces, like we were around them and it was like, yeah, you have to go and play this stuff. I'm like, I don't want to play it. And, you know, and it's stuff like where it is like, no, you have to go and do it. And like for me, it was like, I see a lot of the opportunity before us. And I see a lot of the older generation not necessarily being super like stubborn about it, but they have expectations of what they think you should be doing.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, hey, what do you want to do? And so even if it doesn't work out, like, it's cool. At the end of the day, we'll always love you and we'll support you. At least that's me. Like, I want to be able to say that to my daughter because I didn't have a daughter at that time.
Yeah.
So like we made that not only as a reminder to my nieces, but like that's a message I'd want to share with anybody that I know, like my sisters, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, because hardships happen. And like when they do, you know, you want to be supportive. And so like that piece just worked out for us because not only did it convey such a strong message, but like the illustration that we chose to use for it, like when it came out, I was like, oh, it has to be that. For me specifically, as a Samoan, I was like, yeah, like that's that in so many ways. That was the piece for me that was like, this is the direction we really want to go. Not just that's cool because I see tattoos on it, but like, this is the message. Like there's depth to it more than there is just aesthetically pleasing. Like you have to think about it. And like, if it touches a little deeper, that's what we're going for. We want to break the surface and make you feel something.
For sure. And I just want to describe it real quick for our listeners that if you haven't seen it, one, you got to see it. I'm definitely ordering one. But what the picture looks like, there's two versions. There's a Hawaiian one and a Samoan one. The Samoan one, it has like a girl. She's putting a kuinga on her head. And the caption says, remember who you are and straighten your crown. The Hawaiian one, it has like I think she's doing like a lei po'o or a hako or something. Yeah, just putting on, straightening it. And, you know, that was one of those pieces that really like struck a chord with me, kind of like you said, just looking at it. And I got kind of like chicken skin thinking, you know, like, yeah, remember who you are, straighten your crown. You can do what you want to do, be who you want to be. But should things go badly or should it go south, you can always fall back on who you are, get up, dust yourself off, and move on. That's kind of like what that piece meant to me, which is
awesome. Yeah,
which is why like I wanted to have it be the name of this episode. So what are some other projects you've worked on or pieces you've done that have just been really kind of meaningful to you?
I don't know. Once we came from there, like a lot of the following pieces, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just a nice picture. It wasn't just cool because I see some things there. We wanted to make sure like there was a connection, but there was a reason for that. Like we try to add in different components of the culture that you don't normally see, featured. Most of the time, like you'll see them, you'll put like a sleeve on a character or something, and they're like, oh yeah, it's poly now because you put on a sleeve.
Yeah, like the tattoo sleeve.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I mean, that's cool. It's there, but like, again, there's more to us than just a sleeve. And realistically, if you're gonna do tattoos, do some traditional ones. Like, do a tatau, like put it there, put a malu on it. Like a sleeve, there's just, man, that's a different story that I've talked to a lot of people about. Because me personally, I was like, there's more to it than just that. But a lot of the sleeves that I see, they're like a mixture of different, Like my biggest things. One of the biggest pieces I did, well, big for me at the time. It was a 3-panel piece. No, sorry, it was a 4-panel piece, but it had like 6 colors on it. So it was all the colors of the rainbow. But in each of those colors, I made sure that I did specific patterns for different islands of Polynesia. Wow. And so like there was the Tongan, there was the Hawaiian, the Tahitian, Samoan, Fijian, Maori, all of it. And so for me, I wanted to like emphasize, like people say I'm going to get a poly tat or a Hawaiian tat, and they look at it. I was like, you know how many different patterns are in there? How many different motifs from specific islands? And for me, hey, if you are part that, cool. But I just saw too many people generalizing our people. I was like, no, like, this is specifically Samoan. This part is Maori right there. Like, that's a Fijian design. And for me, that's a big deal. Because, like, that's just a generalization. People was like, oh, yeah, you just like everybody else. Like, no, I'm individual. Like, I'm a Samoan. I love all my other Polynesian brothers and sisters, but, like, I'm Samoan. And so I want to make sure that we address that specifically. And so when it comes to tattoos, that was always a big deal for me. But like all the projects we do, especially recently, like especially since we've launched, I want to make sure that it's more to it than just, that's a pretty looking picture. Like there has to be depth to it. And I hope that's what gets across. Like that's really what we're trying to do, because we want you to like it for more reasons than just it looks cool. We want it to resonate. We want it to stir up the mana. Like, we want you, you want to feel proud. Like we want that to be the reason, not just it's cool. Like it's like, yeah, that's me. Like I want you to see yourself in any of the designs we do. Like we try to be all inclusive. I'm more familiar with Polynesia, so I definitely have way more Samoan and Tongan and Hawaiian designs. But the more that I meet friends from other places, that's when I'll talk to them and they'll tell me. And for me, like, that's a big deal. Like, I don't want to just do what I think. Like, if I do a Tongan thing, I show my Tongan friends, it's like, hey, is this right? Is this what you would call it? Is this, like, appropriate? Would you be offended? They're like, oh, no, just add this. This is only for these reasons. Do that one.
Oh, really?
And so I change it. I don't ever post anything unless I get the okay from my friends that's being represented. And so it's cool to have a variety of friends. And so, like, for me, I'm not against it. Like, unfortunately, I don't have a super wide spectrum of my friends from the Pacific Islands. But, like, if I had a friend that was from, like, Palau or, Papua New Guinea, be like, bro, what do your patterns look like? Let me know. I want to put it out there. Like, I want to represent all of us if I can. It just so happens I know the Samoan and the Tongan stuff the best because I'm Samoan and I have Tongan family. Yeah. The Hawaiian stuff I'm learning more of because my wife's Hawaiian. I have a little bit of Hawaiian, but I was raised Samoan, so it's like I played to my strengths. But I'm totally open to anything else. Like I want to make sure that we're all included, which is why a lot of our recent stuff, like we emphasize the South Pacific or the Pacific Ocean or just being an islander, because that's really what I want it to be about. I don't want it to be just like separate all of us like everyone usually does. It's like that's one of the times that I want to be like, that's all of us. Yeah. Like we're all from the Polynesian Islands or the Pacific Island. So
how much time do you spend like doing that research or, those background checks before you actually make a design? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what is that process like? Tell me about that.
No, honestly, like if you took from the beginning of like the concept to the finalized post, 50% to 60% of the time is research.
Oh, like, wow.
Because I like to draw. So like for the most part, I know what I want to draw and I'm comfortable drawing it. But because I want it to be accurate, I spend a lot of my time reading different things and calling and talking to different people. Because again, I want it to be accurate. I want to be like, oh yeah, check out this Maori design. And they're like, dude, that's not even Maori. Like, people think that's what it is. But like, no, that's not right. And so like for me, it's important to be accurate. And that includes the Samoan stuff too. Like, I'm not above, I don't think I know everything because I know I don't. So I call the OGs, I call my friends who I know is like, you know exactly what that means. And luckily for me, I do have very specific people who I've spoken to, and I'm aware, like, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So I run it by them. And so, like, it's an ongoing process, but, like, as far as how much time, most of the time is in the research. Most of the time is in the research, and once that's done, it's in the composition of the image. Like, it's understanding that that's the best presentation of it. Like, if we change a few things, then we're going to change it. And then it gets into the color schemes and all that. But, like, the most important thing
just that initial
is the accuracy. Yeah, because like the concept comes, but then we want to make sure whatever we're including that we're accurately portraying, and then we move forward from there. Because like for me, everything else, it comes a little easier because it's like, oh yeah, we're just going to draw this. This is what we're going to put on them. But like for me, it's like, what are we going to put on them?
Yeah. Like,
why are we putting that in? Is it because we think it looks cool? Or is like, that's accurate? And most of what we do, it's accurate to the extent that I'm like aware of. Like, I mean, I tried my best. I talked to people.
You definitely do your homework on it.
I tried, yeah. We definitely tried
Oh, man. That is crazy. So I want to backtrack a little bit to what we touched on earlier. You know, the kind of the OG stereotype for Polynesians versus where we are today. You know, just kind of expanding and bring it up. So for you, how's it been being an artist, getting to represent Pacific Island culture, you know, through your work, through your designs, in a way that we usually don't see in mainstream media? If that makes sense.
No, it does.
It's
honestly, it's been really cool because again, like it's opened up doors and it's like created different friendships that like I normally wouldn't get. The age of technology, there's so many bad things that could happen, but if used right, there's so many amazing things that could happen. It can literally connect the world instantly. And so because of social media, because of the internet, because of all these platforms that are available, it allows me to be in contact with people from the other side of the world that I normally wouldn't get the opportunity to. But like, it's also awesome when I see that they still connect to the pieces I make as someone that's not in the island with them. And so like, again, for me, if I make it and there's 4 Tongan, I want the Tongans in Tonga to like it, not just the Tongan stateside. Like, I want you back home in Nuku'alofa and like, you know, I want you to be like, hey, that's right. Like, I want to wear that, not just because it's cool, but because that's really what it's about. And so like, it's definitely a blessing to be in an age where that's an option, where it's a possibility. But I'm also still grateful for those who still hold true to like, you know, the traditions and the customs, because that's where all of this is from. It's that knowledge that allows me to incorporate that into what we here, or we now in this generation, are familiar with. Because most of that's what the images are.
Yeah.
It's a lot of nostalgia for me. Like I take all the cartoons and all these different shows I love, and I incorporate the culture because we all want to be represented. Like you don't see those things. Like until Moana came, you would never see anybody like from the islands. And so it's like when she came out, I was like, oh, I bet. She actually ended up coming out. Moana came out at the end of the year. I think it was like
16, I think? 2016?
Yeah, it was like 3 years ago. And that's actually the same year. At the beginning of that year is when I first did my first like Disney princess one. That's when I dropped the Ariel piece. And like, it was crazy because I didn't realize how much of an impact it would have, just because, again, we don't ever see us in anything other than sports. And so for me, I was like, man, I love cartoons, but like, would have been cool to see a cartoon character that was
Polynesian. Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You know, I was like, it would have been cool to see you in that ear at least, or you know. But like, I mean, shout out to Lilo and Stitch, but like, it didn't get as deep as I would like. Like, I want more than a tourist type of, you know, view of the culture. Like, we want.
Oh, for sure.
This is what it really was, and so like, it's definitely been a blessing to be part of this wave of just like Polynesians and like Pacific Islanders in general, like taking the culture that we love and applying it to like everything in the world that is available out there. Shout out to the sports people, but like everywhere else, we have people who are stepping up in their different individual fields. And it's like, you're proud because like, hey, he's from the islands just like I am, but he's doing major things. Like we have huge representation now compared to what it was previously, as far as like just mainstream.
Yeah.
Like we had people doing major stuff, but no one really knew about it because it wasn't worldwide. Now we have names all over the place. Shout out to The Rock. No matter what people say about The Rock, you know, he's not my cousin or my uncle, but like, shout out to him for always putting on, because like, you understand, like, he doesn't know everything, But man, he puts on for the things he does know. And he's putting up for our people. And even if some people aren't talking, he's still putting, he's straining them out. Like his interview when he was like, the whole thing about the
Haka versus
thank you.
Yeah.
Like, again, and a lot of it is it's teaching. Like, because no one's ever straightened it out, everyone's just assumed, oh no, that's what it was. It's like, like, the Haka is Maori. Like, the Samoans,
we're not all Maori people.
Yeah,
like,
we're
yeah,
not.
like,
the Samoans call it something different. We do something different. The Tongans do too. Like, respect where it's from. And so, like, I respect him so much for putting on. Like, and he has like the biggest platform in the world. He is like the #1 actor in the world. Like, he's making the money. But I love how, like, just slowly throughout his career, he's thrown in little hints of where he's from. Yeah. And it's just like, he'll toss something in there, like the Samoan Thor. He did like the slap dance at the end of like, he just, all these random things. But it's like, he put us out there. And now, the Hobbs and Shaw thing, oh my gosh.
I'm excited for that.
He threw that straight in there.
I really want to see.
It's crazy. Like, that's my point. Like, slowly, the people before us, like, have led us and paved this path. But I love how much exposure that the people of the Pacific are receiving right now. And like, so there's way more opportunities for us to. And so if you don't, it's a personal choice. But I'm like, man, hats off to everybody trying something new.
There's a big like poly movement coming on there.
Definitely.
So adding on to that, what advice would you say to Pacific Islanders in the mainland or in the islands interested in pursuing a creative passion or just something they really want to do, but maybe, they might be kind of hesitant about it or might not be sure how to go about it? What would you say to them?
Oh, man. Do it. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, we psych ourselves out more than anybody else can. Like, we second guess everything we do because we were brought up to make sure that we do it the right way. Like, no wasted movements. Make sure that, we're going to get scolded. We're like doing it wrong. And so we're like, if you're going to do it, you have to do it right. But like, in the world that we are right now and the opportunities that we have, like, you never know unless you try. And this is not speaking from someone who's like super successful. It's like, this is something I continually do. It's like, we've had a lot of burnouts, like things that didn't work. Like, this is not my first venture into business. And so it's like, we've tried a lot of different things. Yeah. And that's not even saying that this is successful right now, but like, you never know unless you try. But you have to make sure that, like, if that's something you're going to do, like, if you're going to do it, give 110%. Like, you can't just commit to it. You can't go in like slacking and just like, oh, well, no wonder it failed. I was like, well, you didn't even try, dude. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, put yourself out there because you never know. Like, even if it doesn't work out, you learn so much and that'll only make you better for the next attempt. That's all. Like, bro, go do it.
No, I love it. Okay. 2 more questions before we wrap up. First one, I'm interested to see what you're going to say on this one. So you always talk about how your wife's the brains, you're the hands, and then your cute little baby girl is the boss.
Yes, she is. Yes,
how has your family been supporting you throughout this?
My family is everything. I would not be able to do this. I can honestly say there is no way that Lex55.com would have ever been launched if it wasn't for my family. More so now that my daughter is here because that's just even more motivation, more inspiration, and more like direction. But like prior to my daughter being born, my wife, as beautiful and as amazing as she is, cannot realize just how much she has blessed me as an artist, as someone who's trying to be a business person. Like, she's very experienced. And so she brings the experience of not just the business world, but also like she is so tech savvy. Like, not even gonna lie, a lot of the digital art stuff, like I draw, but she goes and makes sure that it's clean, that it comes out right.
Oh, wow.
And like she straightens it out for me. Like I do my concepts, I do it on my iPad and I toss it and she tosses it into like Illustrator and Photoshop and she's like, all right, we're going to clean this up. She makes sure that the lines are straight and that it's even and that like it's centered. The orientation is there. Like we speak about what we're trying to make it go. And so I know initially she is impatient because like as an artist, sometimes conveying what I'm trying to look for is hard because I don't even know what it is specifically yet. Like I was like, move it there. No, I don't like it. Let's try this. And so like for someone who's ready to make it happen, like I love her for her patience because like sometimes it's hard when the person who's giving the instruction doesn't know exactly what they want. And so you're like, well, I don't know what you want. It's like, I don't either. Like, it's just, we're going to put this down.
Just kind of write it out together, see where it goes. Man. Oh, I love that.
She's definitely, she's the only reason that Lex 55 has ever happened, like where it is right now, because she takes care of making sure that I remember everything else outside of art. Because if I had it my way, I would just draw all day and everything else would be taken care of by other people. But it's just me and her. And so like, I've had to grow, but I've learned so much because I've been forced out of a comfort zone, and I'm all for it.
It really are just like building together, like working off of each other.
It's really like that.
It's like teamwork at its finest.
Oh, I love it. There's the ups and downs of what teamwork is, but definitely have an amazing partner.
Oh, I love it.
Definitely.
Okay, and then last question. Where's the best place for our listeners to connect with you or find more of your work?
Lex55.com, LEKZ55.com is our newly launched website. We've actually, I don't even think it's been a month, but that's where we have a lot of our products available. But most of social media platforms, you'll find us under the same username. Lex55 is on Instagram, it's Twitter, Snapchat, but no one uses Snapchat as much. Facebook, there is a Lex55 page there. Right. And so we want to make sure we're available in all those places. But Instagram is really where all of it started. Outside of business, it'll go back to when I was just drawing, all my sketches and my different canvas pieces when I was trying to do different things up until now, the new digital art. That's where I really started putting my stuff out there. And so Instagram, Lex55, that's pretty much it.
All right, Lex55.com. Find them on Instagram, mainly Instagram, also Facebook and Twitter.
Twitter,
the big one?
Yeah.
Twitter. All right, and then of course you can always hit him up on his main website. Okay, Leka, this has been so much fun. Thanks so much for being here, for letting us do this today. It was great. Okay, people, this wraps it up for episode 12 of KTS Review's Creative Corner. Remember who you are, straighten your crown, and go get